The Battle of Antietam was the bloodiest single-day battle in Civil War in American history. The battle took place in Sharpsburg, Maryland on September 17, 1862. It was the first major battle to take place in Union territory.
There were a total of 23,000 casualties after only 12 hours of combat. The battle was initiated when Union forces intercepted a top-secret Confederate message that ordered the army to split into two. After receiving this intelligence, Union forces moved on the Confederates in Sharpsburg.
The Union Army, led by Generals George B. McClellan, Joseph Hooker, and Ambrose Burnside, had 75,000 soldiers in all. The Confederacy, led by General Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson, had only 38,000 soldiers, and they were vastly outnumbered. There were 5 major fronts in the battle: Dunker Church, Miller's Cornfield, Nicodemus Hill, Bloody Lane, and Burnside's Bridge.
Dunker Church was one of the first major locations of the battle. After many rounds of gunfire, the church was left standing, but it was in terrible condition with the bullet holes piercing the walls and ceiling. General Joseph Hooker and General Mansfield of the Union Army both tried to take the church. Mansfield's troops were late to join Hooker's troops, and this allowed the Confederate forces to flank Hooker's troops and force them to retreat to the nearby Miller's Cornfield.
Get the church, Jack! Get the church! Come on, Jack, come on, let's go! We got the church, good job! Oh! We're outnumbered! And we're going to be
Hey, where'd everybody go?
After being forced to retreat into Miller's Cornfield, Major General Joseph A. Hooker's soldiers began to fire on Robert E. Lee's left side. The Union repeatedly launched attacks across the cornfield, while the Confederates fired back in vicious counterattacks. Control of the cornfield changed more than 15 times. The Union troops were eventually defeated and forced into the West Woods. These portions of the battle lasted most of the morning and resulted in 13,000 casualties.
Partially due to their control of Nicodemus Hill. Nicodemus Hill was the highest point on the battlefield. General Stuart and his men held a strategic position on top of the hill. They used many cannons to bombard General Hooker and his men. The Confederates' position on the hill was vital to defeating General Hooker's men in Miller's Cornfield. The next significant portion of the battle was Bloody Lane, which was not given its name without a legitimate reason. Before the Battle of Antietam in the Civil War, Bloody Lane was known as the Sunken Road. It was a dirt lane which was used by farmers to get past Sharpsburg. During the Battle of Antietam, Confederate General Daniel Harvey Hill planned to place 2,600 men on the road, and he piled fence rails along the side to strengthen the position. When another Union general, William French, brought his 5,500 men to attack, the Confederate troops fired at the Union troops from very close range. For hours, the Union and Confederate forces exchanged fire. The Union was later reinforced by General Israel Richardson. Finally, the Union forces were able to overwhelm General Hill, driving the Confederate soldiers from their position and infiltrating the front lines. However, the Union did not push forward due to confusion and exhaustion. After hours of battle at the Bloody Lane, there were 5,500 casualties, and neither side had an advantage. From that point on, the Sunken Road was known as the Bloody Lane.
Burnside's Bridge was the last front to play a vital role in the Battle of Antietam, when 500 Confederate soldiers under the command of Robert Toombs and Henry Biddy held off Union soldiers under the command of Ambrose Burnside for several hours. After several attempts to cross the bridge using only sheer numbers, the Union finally decided to have many sharpshooters hide behind a wall and slowly pick off Confederate soldiers hiding in the woods beyond the bridge. Once they took out enough soldiers, the Union returned to using their numbers and charged across the bridge. However, the length of this portion of the battle had allowed Confederate reinforcements to arrive, and the Union army was eventually pushed back to their original position. Due to the heavy casualties of fighting at Burnside Bridge and the rest of the Battle of Antietam, General Lee and the Confederate forces withdrew. General McClellan decided to regroup and preserve his forces instead of pursuing General Lee and dealing a severe blow to the Confederate army, which could have possibly brought about an early end to the Civil War. The Union forces claimed victory, but the Battle of Antietam is often seen as having no clear winner due to the overwhelming casualties on both sides. The lack of a clear Union victory caused President Lincoln to lose faith in his general George McClellan, and this ended his military career.